There was a segment on ESPN First Take this morning, and it was titled Bigger Deal Broncos in Playoffs or Bengals Out. I just think it's crazy how nobody wants to talk about the Denver Broncos because this is a team that does not get a lot of recognition. They're the seventh seed in the playoff picture. Everyone wanted the Bengals to make it, and they didn't. So now they're still trying to talk about the Bengals, and it's just taking away what the Broncos were able to accomplish. I think you can argue that the Broncos did the most overachieving in football this year. I get they went 8-9 last year. They weren't bad, but this team had 70 million in dead cap for Russell Wilson. Actually, maybe even more than that. They have a rookie quarterback in Bo Nix. You look at some of the things that were being said about them. PFF said they had the worst roster in the league. ESPN said they had the second worst roster, and their win total, according to Vegas, was set at 5.5. Well, Denver won 10, and they ended up beating the Chiefs to make the playoffs, and now they're going to travel to Orchard Park this weekend against the Bills. I honestly will be rooting for the Broncos in this game, not only because I'm a Broncos fan and I root for them and I've got Daily Broncos, but it's just a great story. This team hadn't made the playoffs since 2016, the year they won the Super Bowl. Von Miller and Peyton Manning were on that roster. Von Miller will be on the Bills coincidentally in this game, and it's going to be a very, very fun one. But just looking at what Sean Payton has done from the start of the year to the finale, I mean, he has just completely impressed me. He's impressed me all year, but I didn't think he was utilizing his playmakers the right way. And all of a sudden, we start to see, of course, Cortland Sutton put together consecutive 100-yard games. Devon Bailey caught a touchdown. Marvin Mims Jr. had back-to-back two-touchdown games, which is great. Troy Franklin hasn't been very involved, the rookie out of course, Oregon, but I'm hopeful for him for the future. But it's basically been Mims and it's been Sutton. Those have been the guys. In terms of the backfield, Jaleel McLaughlin, Javonte Williams, Audric Estime, it's basically been all of them getting work. Now, McLaughlin does get the most amount of work, but it's basically just a three-headed monster to this point. The Broncos, nobody's run the ball worse than them the past couple of years, so they're truly going to have to get a run game going to have any sort of chance against the Bills. You're not beating Buffalo by running for 60 yards. It's just not going to happen because if you can't run the football, you become predictable in the passing game, but also now you're not running the clock as much and you're giving Josh Allen an opportunity to possess the football. And that's the worst case scenario. I don't care how elite Denver's defense is, and man, is it elite. I mean, if the Bills dominate time of possession, they're going to blow the Broncos out of the building. Like, they shouldn't even bother to show up. Josh Allen's about to win his first MVP award. Lamar might win it, but Allen's the favorite right now, which means that the Broncos are taking on the best player in the world, and they're going to have to neutralize him. And to do that, you run the ball, don't let the ball be in his hands, and then defensively, you want to send pressure him. You don't want to overly blitz because Josh Allen, to this point, it's just pretty much just easy yardage if you blitz him, but you want to send four and you want to get home. And Denver, I think they have the best front in the league. I've been saying this all year. Zach Allen should be in the Defensive Player of the Year conversation. Nick Benito probably, I don't think he'll win Defensive Player of the Year because his own teammate's going to take it from him and Patrick Surtain. I know that Trey Hendrickson, TJ Watt are going to get votes, but I mean, to me, if I had a vote, I think I would go with Patrick Surtain. Actually, I probably would go with Nick Benito. I think Nick Benito is deserving of it. He's got 13 and a half sacks. He's got technically he doesn't have a pick six because it went as a fumble recovery for a touchdown against the Colts, but he does have a pick, a couple of forced fumbles, and 33 solo tackles. Just his versatility to me has been impressive. I'm going to give it to Patrick Surtain. I mean, guys don't even throw at him too. Whenever you see an elite corner and you look at his numbers, it doesn't stand out. Like, watch. So he's got four picks is incredible. That's the 10th most in football. 11 passes defended is tied for 25th. But his numbers, it doesn't scream Defensive Player of the Year, but his impact on the field absolutely does. Like, if I pulled up his advanced metrics, it would show. Sertan, I think he's just the most feared player on defense right now, just because if you throw at him, you're asking for it to be picked off. And that pick six he had as well off of Gardner Minshew, to me, was probably my favorite player of the year, just watching that live and just swinging the momentum. I mean, it's just a thing of beauty, man. But just this defense collectively is what's so scary about it. There's not just one guy that stands out. It's just everyone. I've really liked what I've seen out of a guy like a Riley Moss. Prior to his injury, he's still kind of easing back into it. Chris Abrams-Drain has stepped up. PJ Locke's been fantastic this year. Jaquan McMillan, of course, playing in the nickel. The linebacker deserve credit too with Cody Barton and Justin Strnad and Jonathan Cooper and Jonah Ellis. Like all these guys definitely deserve credit. And I just can't wait to see how they go after Josh Allen and James Cook and Keon Coleman. It's going to be so much fun. I mean, there's a real opportunity that the Broncos Bills is the best game of the weekend. And I don't think anybody's talking about it. And it's just because of the Broncos. Like, if this was Bengals Bills, everyone would not be able to stop talking about it. But what people are failing to realize is that the Broncos are actually a better football team than the Bengals because they've got the best front in the game, elite defense. Bo Nix isn't Joe Burrow, but man, did he have one of the best rookie seasons of the history of the game. I mean, he has the most games with two plus passing touchdowns and zero interceptions as a rookie in the history of football. That's more than Justin Herbert, CJ Stroud, and Russell Wilson. Now, all three of those guys, well, CJ Stroud is way too early to say he's going to the Hall of Fame. I think Justin Herbert is a lock to me, just to me, not to you guys, but to me. And then Russell Wilson is probably a lock as well. So we're talking about two future Hall of Famers not even being able to do that. And then also, Nix became the fifth rookie quarterback in NFL history to have 3,500 passing yards and 25 passing touchdowns. So Bo Nix is playing some of the best football in the league. In terms of rookies, to me, I'd give him the rookie of the. I don't know, actually. Brock Bowers, Brian Thomas Jr., Malik Neighbors. It's so difficult. I'd have to think about it. But to me, Bo Nix is playing the hardest position in the game. He led the Broncos to the playoffs. They won basically double the amount of games they were supposed to. Yeah, I'd give him the award if I'm being honest. What he's done has been incredible, and I've watched Bo Nix grow too. I've watched every Broncos game this season, and from where he is now to where he started, it's just night and day. Like, Bo Nix to me is already one of the best quarterbacks in football. I don't think I would take 10 guys over him. If I'm being completely honest, I think he's that good. And not only does he have an accurate arm, he can throw the ball deep. Bo Nix is very good at throwing the ball deep, but he also can rush it too. And he can just avoid sacks. He does it as well as anyone. He's accurate on the move too. And I actually liked Bo Nix coming out of Oregon. Of course, he played in the SEC at Auburn, so he's got Pac-12 and SEC experience, more starts than anyone in the history of college football. I don't understand. I never understood why so many analysts were not high on Bo Nix coming out of college. The ceiling to me was the question. I don't like ceiling wise. Yeah, there was question marks about that, but I knew he'd be good, and I'm not surprised at all what he's doing. I'm surprised that he's had one of the best rookie seasons ever for a quarterback, but I'm not surprised he's thriving. And it's not just because of Sean Payton, because first of all, the Broncos can't run the ball. They've got an elite offensive line, absolutely. Their weapons, I think, are good. They're not great, but it's just Bo Nix. Like, if the Broncos beat the Bills, yeah, a lot of it will be because of their defense, but I think it's going to be because of Bo Nix. Like, if they want to win that game, Bo Nix, he's got to go out there and he's got to play well. He doesn't have to outplay Josh Allen, the MVP. That's crazy, but he can't turn the ball over, and he's got to make those throws because I think the Broncos are going to be able to hold the Bills to under, I would say, 26 points. The Broncos giving up 26 is a lot for their standards, but it is the Bills as Josh Allen, the MVP. But I think the Broncos are going to be able to score a lot of points because the Bills' defense has struggled this year against teams with winning records. And the Broncos being 10-7, well, that's a winning record. So they've got a chance too. But yeah, I'm at Guys Daily Broncos. Peace.